Hi, hello, welcome. I'm Ruth. Today I'm filming on my laptop because I'm having some technical issues, so the video and sound quality may not be what you're used to. So apologies in advance and thank you for just dealing with it. But the show must go on. I have three books that I'd like to share with you that I received advanced reader copies of, and please rest assured whatever I'm going to be sharing with you are my own thoughts. So the first book is called For the Love of Glitter. This was provided to me by Books Publicity Services Inc. So thank you so much as always. This story is set in a post apocalyptic world where society has to rebuild, and those that are in power are in control of what they call glitter. The author goes into some themes of betrayal, resistance, and questioning your beliefs. The story and how it's written reminds me of Rebecca Ross's Letters of Enchantment series, Divine Rituals, and Ruthless Vows. The way the book is structured with short chapters, and you read from the perspective of the character, which to me keeps the story entertaining and engaging. The pacing and how the characters are introduced are also similar, which I like. It's not quick, it's you gradually get to learn more about these characters and their behaviors and characteristics, which to me is good because that then makes you feel like you're going to be more invested into the characters. And while the author, like I mentioned earlier, goes into themes of betrayal and resistance, this also, I think, kind of goes a little bit hand in hand with activism and politics. So while this book talks a lot about that, I think it's done in a tasteful way where you do feel the intensity of both or multiple sides and why they do the things that they do, but it also doesn't feel divisive because I don't know if this is the intention of the author, but I think some of the things that are talked about in this book could be related to real world events. And I'm the type of person that doesn't really gravitate towards reading a lot of political books because I want to get away from that because of just so much things that are going on right now in the world. But the way that the book is written, like I mentioned, and the topics, yes, while it's relevant, it's still its own thing, if that makes sense. So that's why it's still an enjoyable read to me. Do I have a favorite character? I would say the protagonist, Gray. She is growing on me. There's two sides to the coin. For example, I think she's a firecracker where she has this fighting spirit, she has leadership qualities, and she's very loyal and just a lioness. But on the flip side of that, because she can be quick to judge, quick to make decisions that could be a detriment to her. So that's why she's growing on me. She's not an adult yet. She will be. And so I think, again, that's why she's growing on me. I didn't mention this, but this is a young adult fictional story. The other character, 100% that I just fell in love with is her best friend, Sai. I don't think how you can hate him is so I think he's always has her best intention in mind. So that's why C is or Sai, sorry, was one of my favorite characters. I think there's going to be also others, but I'm waiting to kind of see more of their personality. But so far, I think that this book has a good supporting cast too. A quote that I want to share with you that I think is good reminder because words do cut deep even if you think they don't. I think they do. So this is a good reminder of maybe thinking of what we say before we say it. So this is the quote here. Cost the same breath to bless as to bruise. So just keep that in mind when we are angry and we want to say things, we might regret it. So let's take a step back and try to think about what we say, especially when we are in a heightened state. Every time this book talks about fixings, it reminds me of a scene in the show is not called Kenny Powers, but one of the characters, Kenny Powers, they talk about fixings. So I'll insert a clip here.
Adkins.
My overall thoughts on this book, I'd give it a 4 stars, and I hope you'll check it out. All right, on to the next book. This one is called Bound by Her. So thank you so much, MZ Rylan and team, for providing me a copy. This is no surprise. So if you go on the author's website, you will see that this is going to be a 4 book series with 2 additional novella spin-offs. This book also won an IPPY award. So congrats to the team and the author for winning an award. When you hear the title of this book, what do you think of without knowing the context? Do you think that this book is about maybe a mystery murder? Do you think it's a thriller? Or maybe something more sensual? Well, if you guessed the latter, you are correct. I wanted to give this book a shot. Normally, I don't really gravitate towards these type of books because a lot of it talks about dom and bdsm type of situations. For example, Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey, right? I don't really gravitate towards those type of books. However, I wanted to just give this book a try and be open-minded, and I'm glad I did because it now reinforces what I am and am not interested in, or what I am and am not comfortable reading. And so I'm glad I was able to be given a chance to read this book. So here are a couple things of why I like this book. The beginning was very mysterious and it kind of hooks you into wanting to read more. The other situation that I liked is there's a scene where Adria, the protagonist, she is eating Rocky Road ice cream. And I don't know if a lot of people like that flavor, but I'm going to call that out because I like it. And to have that specific flavor be written in the book, I'm going to call it out. So I recognize and I see that. So I appreciate that flavor being put in. The other thing I like is the quote, because this does, or what this quote says, does just really embodies what the book is about. And the quote says, they dealt in people, land, and favors. So this kind of reminds me of John Wick for whatever reason. Not really, but kind of similar. So all in all, this is all dealing with power and control. So, how do you do that? You control people, you control resources, land, and if you have favors, you can basically blackmail people, right? If you have secrets on them, you can blackmail and ask for favors. So, unfortunately, this is the world that the book focuses on, and that's what real life is about too. What gets to me is, and I didn't really count word for word, but in general, I can say majority of this book has a lot of explicit content that I was not comfortable with. And there were times where I wanted to just quit, really. But I just had to push through because I wanted to make sure I give this book a fair shot. But I was really difficult to keep pushing on just because of a lot of explicit scenes that I was not comfortable with. I do like that the author did not use baby as one of the terms of endearment in the dialogue. That's, I think it's just my bias coming out. I just hate when author uses that, especially in romance books. So I do like that the author did not include that in this book. Uh, Other than that, aside from just so much of the explicit scenes, to me it was very distracting when it comes to the story because I was more focused on the story rather than all of that other fluff. So, to be fair, I've also read other similar books And so, to be fair, my rating, I'm going to rate this a 1 star because of that. I think if the side story was stronger, then I might have rated it a little bit higher. However, I just think because the story just focuses a lot on Dom behavior, BDSM, I did learn something new, so I will give you that. I did learn what dubcon is. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're just going to have to look it up yourself. But I did learn what that term meant. So I did learn something new. And let's just say thankful for the opportunity, but I will probably not be continuing reading those type of books. On to my last book here. This one is called Fragments of Solace, and this was provided to me by Book Sirens. This one, think of if you're into sci fi and cyberpunk, this might be the book for you. This world is called Proxima, and it's a high surveillance, high political unrest city. And the main character, Kimoni, he works for a company called Shein Corporations. Slowly, as he starts to learn more about this company and its secrets, he starts to realize that he doesn't know a lot. And he's pretty high up there when it comes to being a part of that company. And this story is very intriguing because of the way the author just really immerses you into the story, just the way he builds this world. It's amazing how detailed he is. And you really get immersed, like I mentioned. I do like the dialogue between Kimoni and the detective and Kimoni and his ally. I won't reveal to you who those people are, just know that those are their titles. So I do enjoy their interaction because it's very different. One of my favorite characters in the book, I do have to say, is Kimoni. I actually do like the detective and ally as well. I think they all come from a good place, but each of them have their own motives, of course, and how they grew up affects their decision making. But I think overall, though, those three are my favorite characters in the book. So some parts are fragmented, and I don't know if that's done on purpose, but to me, it felt very fragmented. Title, based on the title, but to me, some of the parts felt a little bit fragmented, so it was hard to follow at times, and there were certain parts that I was a little bit confused. While I appreciate also that the author tries to show this world is very diverse, especially because in the dialogue, the author includes languages from Chinese. I don't know if it's specifically Mandarin or Cantonese, and then Hindi. And so while I do appreciate that, some of the dialogue, the author does not translate the words. So yeah, if you're the type of reader that doesn't want to look up what the word means, maybe this won't bother you. But for me, I do want to learn what those words mean. So there were some times that the words weren't defined. So that was a little bit distracting. But I wouldn't say it's like a huge ding on the book, but it was just something I noticed. I do enjoy this book, and I would rate this a 3 stars. So I do hope that you'll check this book out. Please let me know your thoughts. Did you like any of these book mentioned? Are you going to check it out? Did you have a favorite character? Please let me know your thoughts. Please leave a like, share, rate, subscribe. It will help me out a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Happy reading.